What's up, guys? This is Talkin Ball. I'm Matthew.
I'm Daniel.
And today we're just going to talk to you about this chaotic and crazy college football weekend.
Yeah, wow. Completely changed the landscape of what we thought was going on.
Yeah, there's
this year.
People who've just jumped out and now are contenders, and then also contenders who are just pretenders.
Yeah, I mean, two of the top four, they're gone.
Crazy weekend. So let's start off with just Georgia.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett.
I called it.
He's that guy. I didn't know
we were
he
calling
had it
him serviceable last time. He's a little bit more than that.
He's definitely
he's got a
more
little
than
swag to
serviceable.
him.
Yeah.
He dives for the pylon, throws up the phone. Did you hear the story about why he was doing the phone?
Yeah, but let's tell everyone. It's a crazy story.
So Tennessee fans found out Stetson Bennett's number the night before and were calling him all throughout the night, so he couldn't get any sleep. He dives to the pylon, gets his first touchdown, and holds up the phone.
That was an insane celebration. I saw it in a
Amazing.
press conference after the game. He said he had close to 600 calls the night before. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And just throwing up, he's like, yeah, I'll call you back after he scored that TD.
No, that was swaggy. That was nice. I like to see it from Stetson.
Yeah, I really thought the game, it was going to be I thought it was going to be an offensive battle, but we saw that Georgia's defense.
Yeah.
They can do some damage. They stopped them, huge stops throughout the game. First drive, Tennessee was sort of finding themselves, but that stop for a field goal sort of changed the momentum.
Yeah.
So then Georgia got that touchdown right after, and just all Georgia from there.
Georgia's defense made Tennessee look foolish, and I said last week, if the under hits, Georgia's going to win this game. You know what I mean? They shut them down. Tennessee looked like a high school offense. They couldn't get anything done. Hendon Hooker was running around in the backfield, couldn't stay safe from that Georgia defense, and that's just what you're gonna get when you play Georgia.
Yeah, when you look at the team stats, it's actually more even of a game than you'd think. They both had the same amount of turnovers. Tennessee actually had more first downs. Possession was 29-31 Georgia, but it was just, at the end of the day, who was more efficient, who was going to get those touchdowns, those points when they needed, and Georgia just showed up as the better team. Overall, just great showing by Georgia.
Honestly, when I think when you're holding Ladd McConkey when you're letting Ladd McConkey get 94 yards on your defense, you've lost the game.
Yeah,
you've lost the game.
Yeah. Let's get to the next SEC.
Yeah.
Or do you have one more thing to say?
I was just gonna say Jalen Hyatt, 63 yards. That's wow. We thought he was. What did he have against 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns last week, or against Alabama?
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
just shut him down. Completely.
Another SEC huge matchup, LSU Alabama.
Yeah,
we thought Alabama was gonna just be the favorite coming in this game, but it was in Death Valley. LSU had that home field advantage, and it showed. LSU balled out.
Yeah. Their defense really, really did something we don't see happen a lot to Bryce Young, where they just shut him down.
Yeah, he was under 50% passing, which is something you never see of that guy. I think today, this game was really just he had a good Heisman season. It was looking that he could go back to back, but I think that game really just knocked him out of the race completely.
Yeah, watching that game personally, I didn't even think Bryce Young was playing bad. I just thought LSU was just, their defense just really held up, And another thing I'm interested in is, they passed the ball 51 times, Alabama did. They've ran the ball 30 times. But if you look at Jahmyr Gibbs' stats, he had 15 carries, 99 yards. He was averaging 6.6 per carry. I'm just surprised they didn't run it more.
I totally agree. I've been seeing this guy all season. He has just been a beast. Against Tennessee, he balled out. Against all these teams, he just have been playing great and just not handing him the ball enough. I get they have Bryce Young, best quarterback in the country, but sometimes you got to trust your running back, trust the players, trust the process, and that could have led to a different outcome if they had him.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, you watch his highlight tape, he looks like the reincarnation of Alvin Kamara. He really looks like a guy that's going to do great things probably next year in college, but also, you're already thinking about the league for him. He looks great.
Yeah, I totally agree. This was just such a barn burner of a game. Alabama, everyone thinking that low-key could have been a walkthrough, but
how about
Brian Kelly, man? I guess now it's kind of making sense because at Notre Dame he didn't get the best athletes, the best recruiting classes, and he still was able to manage and send teams to the college football playoffs. But now that he has the athletes, the best players, top recruits, LSU is a real contender.
I mean, he really shut up the haters with that one. And I think also you look at Jaden Daniels. I mean, his stats in this game, I mean, he was on fire. I mean, we don't think about him, I think, when we name the Heisman contenders. We think of Bryce Young. We think of C.J. Stroud and that type of stuff. I think it's start time. Maybe we start mentioning Jaden Daniels in this race.
He just has both the ability to run and throw, and you saw it in overtime.
Dual threat.
The first play in overtime, he takes it to the house. Like, he definitely is a threat and should be watched out for more often.
Yeah.
Let's get into the Notre Dame Clemson game. I was at that one. Great game.
Yeah.
Great
how about your Fighting Irish? Oh my God.
Yeah, they just showed up. They did everything right in Clemson. They just couldn't get stuff going.
Yeah, I mean, talk about run the damn ball. 263 yards rushing. 2 players over 100 yards rushing. I mean, they just ran it down their throats.
Yeah, we just saw it there. The offensive line was just owning Clemson's defensive line, and they were giving them good holes. But the running backs were just powering through. They were working hard and just getting stuff done.
Yeah.
But also, one thing that's overlooked is the special team play by Notre Dame. They had a blocked punt for a touchdown, and they were putting pressure on Clemson's punter the whole night. And also, Notre Dame had some key interceptions. They had a pick six, and then they also had a huge interception that led to a touchdown for them. So their defense really put DJ Uiagalelei under pressure. And when Cade Klubnik came in, he wasn't able to do anything as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of the we may not have I think me and Rohan predicted Clemson to win, but a lot of things we were talking about this team really came out to be true. I mean DJ Uiagalelei really doesn't look that good. I mean, he just looks terrible, and Clemson looks like a team that should never even sniff the top 4.
Yeah, easily Clemson's out. I think this loss even might pull out the whole ACC from the college football playoff. I don't see an ACC going in now.
Yeah, no. So you want to talk about Texas, Kansas State a little bit?
That's great
segue.
Yeah, I think so too.
Bijan Robinson, wow, statement game, 209 yards. Not much more to be said. I mean, Quinn Ewers, he didn't have a great completion rate, but 2 touchdowns, 197. That's serviceable. That can win you a game.
Yeah, when we were talking on Friday, we were discussing what Texas team are we going to see this weekend. Is it going to be the one who destroyed Oklahoma, came close to beating Alabama, or is it going to be one that's just asleep and sort of going through the motions? I think we saw the real Texas team, the good team that is a contender for the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, and we're seeing the Bijan Robinson that people were saying before the season, hey, this guy could be a Heisman possibly. He could be the best running back in college football, and we're seeing that guy now. And also, I mean, you look at Deuce Vaughn. I mean, he's been going off all season, and then you watch this game, and I mean, Texas just shut him down.
Yeah, it was just sort of a true Big 12 game, like a little bit back and forth, but I think next weekend we're gonna see if they're real. Like, if TCU is real. Is
TCU Kansas State, great game.
TCU Texas.
No, yeah, next week with TCU Kansas State, that's going to be
Texas next week. TCU.
TCU Texas. Sorry,
it's all good. It's all good.
The 2 purples, I get confused. But yeah, I think that's going to be gonna be a great game.
That's going to show if
battle of the Big 12.
Because I think if TCU wins in Austin, I think they could be a real team. Like, they actually could be a college football playoff contender. Yeah. But I think if Texas gets it going, I think Big 12 is also out, which leads to a crazy segue for the college football playoff.
Yeah, college football playoff. I mean, I do we want to make our predictions for?
Let's go through our conference champions first.
Yeah.
And then we can go. Right now, obviously, SEC looks like it's going to be LSU Georgia in conference championship. What are your thoughts on that game?
I mean, obviously, yeah, I think it's going to be LSU Georgia, but I mean, I don't know how you stop Georgia. I honestly can't tell you how Missouri got so close to stopping Georgia, but they just look like a machine.
Yeah, I think the Georgia-Missouri game was one where Georgia expected to win, went through the motions, and when they saw that they were down and actually could lose the game, they sort of woke up, and then we saw the real Georgia.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's got some hype, which I think is good, or LSU's got some hype, which I think is good, but I think they may be a little overhyped now. I'll say it. I don't think they can compete with Georgia.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot out of Brian Kelly to figure something out. He's faced Kirby before, so it could be like he has that experience against him in Georgia. He went down in Athens with Notre Dame and almost pulled off an upset a couple years ago. But I think maybe LSU could figure something out, but it would take a perfect game from LSU and a struggle from Georgia.
Yeah. So next, you want to do Big Ten. I mean, Big Ten, we got two teams to talk about. I mean, it's either going to be Ohio State takes it or Michigan takes it.
It's the game at the end of the year. That's going to decide, which it's kind of frustrating for some football fans, but it also just brings up the excitement because whatever team wins that game is going to the playoff.
I mean, best
loser most likely isn't. There's not going to be a team that loses their last game of the year and then doesn't make makes the college football playoff. Yeah. It's just not going to work with the 4-team process. But
I mean, I think we're going to only see there are 4 undefeated teams left. I think. I mean, you got Georgia, you got TCU, you got Ohio State, and Michigan. Yeah. And of those, I mean, Ohio State or Michigan's going to have a loss. I really don't see TCU escaping Texas without a loss.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I mean, not predictions yet for this weekend. I got to see what happens. But, I mean, we may see only 2 undefeated teams by the end of the season, which is really, really interesting.
What are your thoughts on the Pac-12? Like, do you think Oregon's got it under control, or do you think USC, maybe even Utah could figure something out, or UCLA?
Yeah, I mean, Oregon handled Colorado pretty well this weekend, and they've been doing that for a good bit. But I don't see any team from the Pac-12 really going to the college football playoff.
So you don't see, like, say Oregon wins Pac-12 championship. You don't think?
What's the rest of their schedule? I mean,
they've got Utah and Oregon State, so those would be solid wins, and then they'll most likely play USC or UCLA in the Pac-12 championship. So I think that's a decent resume. I know they got smoked by Georgia, but you got to remember that was Bo Nix's first game with them, and now since he's leading the offense right now really well. He didn't have as much experience with them. They hadn't played together, and playing Georgia your first game, like, you're kind of due to get crushed. National champions.
That was a tough challenge for his first week. And, we're talking about Bo Nix now. Like, I mean, a lot of people are saying Heisman race for Bo Nix,
Yeah, he's the Bo Nix that we wanted to see at Auburn. He's the freshman Bo Nix, the highly hyped up quarterback, and he's finally showing out. And I think he's going to be dangerous with Oregon. And I think they have what it takes to make the college football playoff if they win out.
Yeah, I definitely think he'll take them to win the Pac-12 championship. But I don't know about college football playoff. I mean, there's a lot of good teams in that 5 through 8 mix who I could see getting in. But yeah, I'd say they're definitely in contention.
Are we almost going to say Big 12 and ACC are completely out?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the ACC. Syracuse, Pitt. I mean, those teams are getting in.
I think Clemson's lost to Notre Dame. That completely kicks them out.
Yeah, no.
Like, North Carolina, I don't think they have a good enough resume. They haven't really had any good wins. They got blown out by Notre Dame. So I think I don't see any of those teams. And if Texas beats TCU this weekend, I think they're out too. So pretty much there's just Pac-12, Big Ten, and SEC, and there's only going to be one Big Ten school, and that's going to be the winner of Michigan, Ohio State. I think Tennessee, if they win out, I think they're safe. I think they'll slide in.
Yeah, I think they could definitely slide in. I mean, that was a murder that just happened on Saturday, but I mean, I don't know. I think the score 13-27 definitely does them justice because I mean, the whole game, everybody knew. I mean, besides like the first quarter, maybe everybody knew Georgia was winning that game. They had it in the reins. They were dominant. I mean, they just controlled Tennessee like nobody else has this season.
Yeah, I think the only way Tennessee doesn't get in the playoff is if they don't get in if as an 11-1 team.
Yeah.
That's if in the SEC championship LSU beats Georgia.
Yeah.
I think LSU as an SEC champion, even though Tennessee did blow them out, I think that is you see their uphill trajectory throughout the season. I think LSU gets in, Georgia gets in, Tennessee's out.
Yeah.
So if you had to guess right now, what are you thinking?
Top 4 CFP?
Yeah, CFP.
CFP, I mean, you got to go Georgia number 1. Listen, Ohio State didn't look good last week this past week. But I don't know. I think you can maybe this is because I'm an Ohio State fan. I think you can make an argument for the weather was bad, 40-mile-per-hour winds, stuff like that. But I think I'd like them to stay at 2. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe there's a little bias there, but Tennessee I don't see leaving the top 4. But honestly, I don't see them being ranked outside the top 4, but I don't think that should be in the top 4. Like, I think TCU should be the 4th team because there's 4 undefeated teams in college football.
You think it's Georgia, then Ohio State, Michigan.
Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, yeah.
Yeah. I think I like, obviously, Georgia number 1. I think I want Michigan number 2.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah, I see that.
I think they've just been putting up better, games than Ohio State recently. Ohio State they haven't been the same. Penn State, Northwestern, these games, they're not the same Ohio State that we've seen all season.
Yeah.
But then Ohio State at 3, and then 4, I like Oregon.
Really?
Yeah. I think Oregon's going to jump Tennessee. I know they had that bad loss against Georgia, but right now I think they're one of the best teams in the country.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, they definitely looked the part. They got the quarterback. They got their swag. They got the ability to make things happen. I was also just going to add this. I think North Carolina might be the worst 8-1 team I've ever seen in my life. I mean, they oh my God, beating Virginia by a 3-6 Virginia team by 3 points.
The ACC is just a bunch of frauds this year, and there's really no good teams in that.
Yeah, not a one. But yeah, I mean, is that the show?
I think that's the show. Signing off.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you Wednesday for NFL picks with Sebi and Rohan. Until then.